What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ToyShopFab. And on this video, we're making some changes from carbureted to fuel injection. Yep, that's right. We're going fuel injected. Now, I know I've said this before on a couple of other videos, but I got a big trip coming up. And I want to try to get a few more miles per gallon out of the old pickup truck here. And I think I can do that by switching from carbureted to fuel injected. Now, some of you may remember this carburetor. We took it out of a box. It was a dusty old piece of junk. Base plate was froze up. This guy right here. Replaced it with one I got for about $100 off of eBay. Went through, cleaned everything up, put new float bowls on it, put her on this old pickup truck, and fired right up. Now, I do have a few videos already of the rebuild process that we went through on that carburetor, and of, ripping this thing up and down the driveway and around town a couple times. Well, around the neighborhood. So, that carburetor works very well, but I want to try to step it up a little bit, see if I can't squeeze another mile or two per gallon out of this old pickup truck, and I figured the best way to do it is go to fuel injection. So now the fuel injection system I'm using is one I've had sitting around for a while, and truthfully it's been on this engine once before when it was in this truck, and that is the Fast 2.0, the easy fuel injection there. Now that setup works really well. Has 8 fuel injectors in it. 4 of which don't get used unless it's under a heavy load, hard acceleration, stuff like that. It normally cruises around on just 4. And if I remember correctly, I think they're 85-pound injectors, so capable of supporting quite a bit of horsepower, way more than I think this truck will ever put out. But I've had it, and truthfully, that thing there has actually been on the Mustang. It was the original fuel injection system, my very first, that I installed on that car, drove it around before I switched to the blow-through system that's on it now. And both systems work really well. That one worked extremely well for being self-learning, and it worked well on this big block. So we're going to put it back on the big block. Fingers crossed it still works, right? Ran when parked. So we got to get this carburetor off. We got to get that throttle body put in place. I've already gone ahead and installed the harness. If you guys remember when we very first got this truck started, I had already made a plate and just went ahead and mounted that box once before. I just went ahead and drilled a 2 1/8 hole right in the firewall, ran the harness through the firewall, plugged it in. Since then, I've installed this fuse box here, which I still need to run power for. Most of this stuff was just set in place in anticipation of switching over to fuel injection. So it's already been there. Our harness has been run through the firewall, as you can see, right behind the battery. So the battery's going to come up, sits against this lid. I got this nice little gap here where all of this wiring will be hidden by the battery, and I think will help make the engine compartment look pretty clean. Although it does need some more cleaning. It's a little dusty. So, like I said, already poked the harness through the firewall, just plugged it into the computer that was already there. We got to pull this carburetor off, throw the throttle body on it, plug it into the harness. But the big job in this is, well, we got to upgrade the fuel system. Now, the fuel system that is in this truck is the factory tank that we cleaned out, and it still sits behind that seat. So I want to get that out of the truck. Plus, once that's out of the truck, it'll allow me to configure the seat that's in it now. I don't know if you noticed, but it is the second row. Yeah, this is the second row seat out of my parts Cadillac or parts Escalade that I have sitting over on the other side of that thing, hidden. And it actually fits this truck pretty darn good. You see, it's not bolted down, it's just sitting in there. I need to get it back, and in order to do so, we need to get this factory tank out of there. So we're going to be working on that, getting that out, so I can line that seat up better and get it bolted into place. We're going to be installing a fuel cell in between the fuel rails in the back of this truck. Now, if you get online there and look it up, you can find the aluminum fuel cells for these trucks, and they run anywhere between $400 and $500. I didn't do that. I went and bought one off of eBay for just over $100, and we're going to try to get that one to fit. Now, off camera, I've gone ahead and mocked a few things up, and I think it's going to work out pretty darn well for us. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get that fuel cell set up on a workhorse or on a bench, maybe on the back of this truck. Yeah, we'll get the fuel cell set up on the back of this truck, show you guys what the idea that I have. And we'll go ahead and finish that idea up, get that fuel cell installed so we can start running our fuel lines and stuff. Hopefully, by that time, my fuel pumps will show up because they're not here yet. And then we'll run our fuel system. So we have to run the fuel lines from the fuel cell through the frame, into a fuel filter, into the throttle body to fuel pressure regulator, return line back. We got to wire in our fuel pumps and all that other neat stuff. So go ahead and get our fuel cell set up on the back of this truck and show you the idea that I have come up with. All right, so here is our eBay fuel cell that I picked up for this truck. I'm going to go ahead and show you the measurements right now for it, just in case you have a similar pickup and you want to do the same thing. So we got about 7 high, 17 from there to there. And then here is our width. Go across here. 29.5. Now, if you have one of these pickups, you know 29.5 is pretty darn close to the exact inner dimension of in between our rear frame rails. It's just a little bit narrower on this pickup truck. I had to take a flap disc and just clear up a little bit of our frame rail. Show you guys here what I'm talking about. So you guys can see up in there just a little bit on this inner edge here. Went ahead and cleaned up both sides, and that fits perfectly. And that allows our fuel cell to fit a little snug up in there, as you can see. Matter of fact, it has just slight rub marks on where it slides up into in between our fuel rails there. A little more on the other side. You can see you got a little bit of wear here, but it does fit nice and snug in between those frame rails. Also, here, show you guys real quick. That this rear bar here, it bolts in. The normal one did bolt in, but it bolted in up here. So I unbolted it and just kind of oblong the holes just a little bit to the outside, because the frame gets just a slightly wider at the end. So I oblonged them a little bit, took this guy, flipped it up, put it back in between the frame rails, and just bolted it down. Now this bolt here is because I have already, this bolt comes straight across here. Here is another bolt, and that is for the straps that I have made. So if we get down here on the bottom of our fuel cell, see I have half by half kind of angle. I've got a piece on both the front and the rear. And here is one of our 1.25 inch, I believe. Yep, 1.25 inch by 48 inch straps that I have made one strap for. So this goes down, bends around, goes to the other side, and comes up on the other side there and bolts to the bottom of the frame like a normal gas tank strap would. I made that pattern out of just a piece of scrap aluminum here. So now I got to transfer this over to this piece so I can make another strap and get this fuel cell bolted up in the bottom of the truck. I'm also going to weld this strap to this guy here. Now I'm doing this so the fuel cell is not completely supported just by this 1¼ strap on both sides. This, I believe, will give it a little more support going all the way across our fuel cell. Just give it a little bit more strength, you know? You know? Okay, so now here's another thing I'm doing. I'm going to be using a internal fuel pump. Figured it'd help keep it cooler, especially on long drives, stuff like that. You don't have to. These tanks actually have, like this would be the feed here. If you look down in there, there's the pickup tube. This would go to your external fuel pump on the frame rail. This guy here is your return. And that is your vent. So you can hook up a fitting there and go off to the other side. This guy's knocking away over here. So that's what we got. This would be the pickup for your frame mounted fuel pump. Here is the return. This one is our vent. I'm gonna go ahead and cap these off here. And as you can see, we pulled the factory fuel cap off there. And we're going to this guy. Now this is I believe an RCI fuel pump hanger. Got this off eBay, has -8 feed and returns. I'm just gonna get a cap one of those off and use our -6 return there because I have it. And we're gonna hang our new pump off of this guy here. She'll fit right there. So that's how we're gonna be fueling our fuel injection system. We're gonna go in-tank fuel pump. I'm waiting for those to get here. Those are Walbro, eBay Walbro 450s. They're about 35 bucks a piece, so I did the right thing and bought 2. That way I have a spare. I'm interested to see how long they last, so. Got 2, I am waiting on those. Those should be here in the morning. But I figured why not make sure at least we can kind of get this thing set up the way we need it. So here is our ring for our new fuel filler cap and our fuel pump hanger. I did have to grind off a little bit to get it to clear this guy right here. So now that I have, it goes in and out just like it's supposed to. Here is another thing we need to do. So you can see it's a little snug on our fuel bolts or our bolt holes there. So I have a step bit on the end of our drill. I've already opened up a couple of these. Go ahead and finish that off, get all those opened up. That way our fuel pump hanger will be ready to install. Here's another little thing you guys might want to do. Whether or not you're changing fuel pumps or putting an intake pump or not, if you have the fuel cell right here, you might want to double check to make sure your fuel level, your fuel flow works. You know, might save you from getting this in the vehicle, filling it up with gas and realizing you got to take it out because your fuel cylinder doesn't work. It happened to me on that truck up there. Yep. So I've learned this. Grab your old little universal multimeter here. I'm just going to go ahead and put this guy right there. I'm going to stick the other end in here because I only have 2 hands. But now you can see our little guy is there. I'm going to reach in, grab our float, and just make sure we get some kind of sweep. So, yep. As you can see, we do have a sweep. I did test it earlier. I must be having bad connections here, just sitting that in there, but she is sweeping. It is working, which is good. So now I can go ahead and continue going on with what I am doing. But like I said, that might save one of you guys out there one day. But now I'm going to go ahead and just get you in the stand over here. We're going to finish drilling out these holes, make sure this guy fits. And then hopefully our pumps get here in the morning so we can install those and get this thing in the truck. Good afternoon. Yep, it's the next day. I stayed up a little bit last night. As you saw there on the video, we got the strap all bent up for our fuel cell. I got the hole cut in the back of the bed for our, so we can get to, come on. There we go. So we can open this up and get to our filler neck for our fuel cell. Our fuel cell hanging bracket or mount or cage, whatever you want to call it, is all welded up, everything's sitting up in there, and it is test fit, so it fits up on all of our mounting bolts. And while I was test fitting that this morning, well, our fuel pumps came in, so here is what we got. That guy. Hey. Hi. Got Seth up here hanging out. Maybe I can get him to do a little bit of recording for me or hold the camera, but here is what we got. So here is our eBay Walbro 450 pump. It does say it is compatible with E85, which is good because I will be switching this truck over to E85 eventually. But there's our pump. We got our strainer. We got our plug. A couple of hose clamps. Our hose to go between the pump and our output or discharge on our filler neck. So go ahead and get that pump out of its little wrapper there, get everything set up so we can get some hoses. Hoses connected to the top of this fuel cell, get it up in the truck and get it bolted up, hopefully for semi-permanent. Probably gonna have to take it out eventually later before our trip, but for right now, at least we can get the hoses ran, we can get everything test fit, mocked up, and that way we can get our hoses run across the frame rail or down the frame rails, get that hooked up to our throttle body, which on the video there, I got that mocked up or sitting on the manifold last night, got it all bolted up and throttle cable hooked up. Our fuel pressure regulator too is also mounted to the inside of the apron, so there's our throttle body. There's our fuel pressure regulator. Plan is to run down the frame rail, all the way down there, up into the dash 8. It'll come out the dash 6, back down across into our regulator, out the regulator, back to the tank. So that's what we're going to do. On our frame rail, we'll also have a fuel filter mounted somewhere on that passenger side frame rail. So anyways, go ahead and hand you off to Seth. We're gonna see if we can't get this fuel pump mocked up and set in our tank. So here we go. Got it, bud? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's go over here. Let's unwrap this. Kind of like look at this. It's kind of heat or vacuum sealed, I think. Oh yeah. You can see it's been melted together right here. So our pump has been vacuum sealed. Look at this thing's 35 bucks, which is cool. I do want to know how well it works. I will bring another pump with me. I have another one of these, so I bought two. Fingers crossed everything works out. I also have another pump around here I know works that I probably throw in a box with us just so I can have it in case something was to happen to either one of these pumps. Yeah, it's kind of got a little bit of a oil on it. I guess it's to keep it from rusting, but it's got a nice little connector. That's cool. So let's see here, what do we got? Where are our hose clamps? kit comes with these hose clamps as well. Actually, I think this came with the hose clamps, truthfully. So, let's see here. Let's get this guy off. It's actually wrapped pretty darn good. I like it. Here we go. This is our output. Go ahead and put this guy. Oh yeah. Come on. Can we just... There we go. Snug fit. Snug fit. Whew. You see that big ol', she's on. She is on. Probably don't even need a hose clamp. Holy cow. All right, that guy on there. Get it tight. Nice. Cool. So there's that. Now, if I can find my tape measure right over here. Let's see what we got. So from the bottom of our tank to the top of our seal. Well, let's go. Bottom of the tank to the bottom of our bracket here is 6 3/4. So now the top of our seal is 7 1/16. So what we gotta try to do is gotta get our pump set up in a way where the bottom of this guy 7. Oh yeah, be coming up a little bit. Might want to cut this guy down. So let's see here. Just for reference, let's get this guy on here. I already got the full, get the proper measurement here. It's a nice feeling pump. Look at that. Nice little pickup screen there. Or sock, or pickup sock. $35 comes with all this stuff. See how well it fits on the pump. Oh yeah, nice. That fits really nice and tight. So that's good. Oh yeah. Nice. Fits really nice. Let's put this guy on. We're just gonna get one screw on here for right now. Okay, got a screwdriver. Oh, the socket. So what I'm going to do, get off this side, I'm just going to snug our hose clamp just enough so that it holds our fuel pump in place, but hopefully let it, you know, slide. So when I push it down into the tank, it will allow me to, it'll allow the fuel pump to move. Know what I mean? Know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah.
That's right, interactive, getting you, you know. Anyways, so I said now our pump should be able to move up and down. Hopefully it doesn't get too far down, or it doesn't get pushed up too far. Let's see, we'll get it close right now. Right now I'm at, whew, looks like our pump is going to be right up against there. See that? I think that's what it looks like. If it, hopefully it doesn't go any farther up than that, because I have to cut that off, work this, all that. Might be close. Let's see. Let us see. I might have totally. Oh, good. So that fits. Now that that fits like that, let's go ahead and move this down. See exactly how much room. Whoops. How much room I got. Yeah, right there I feel it hitting. So I'll push that down. So you can see. Oh yeah. It's really, really close though. About a 1/4 of an inch space. But that is with this against the bottom of our fuel cell. So what I'm gonna do then is go ahead and get the cutoff wheel out. I'm gonna cut this guy off right here. That way our pump can sit flat. We'll get the other hose clamp on. We'll get this hose cut. Get our hose clamp set on. That way we can work the fuel pump up on the hose. We'll get that set in place. Get that cut off, get both hose clamps on. And then what we'll work on after that is this guy here. This is another neat thing too, is our little fuel pump holder, our fuel pump hanger here. Comes with this guy. Check this out. You can see this? It's rubber, and it's got like little fingers. And what happens when you see that? Watch this holes. Can you see the little holes there? When you tighten them up, see them close up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that way we can feed our wires through there, tighten that up, get a nice good seal. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off right here, right above this other hole. Get our hose clamp on it, I'll be right back. Fuel pump hanger's cut. Fuel pump is installed, went ahead and just put on one hose clamp. I ended up changing the hose clamps because the ones that came in the kit are a little, well, it broke. That's all I'm gonna say. The hose clamp broke, so I went and I got some from the auto parts store there. Put a nice fat, thick hose clamp on there. It's nice and tight. I also went ahead and just, our little hanger there, I put a slight twist in it so it's, our fuel pump sits nice and flat against it instead of off to the side like it was trying to do when I tightened up the hose. So our hose is nice in line with our pump. I twisted our bracket to line up with our pump so everything is tight. And this is the correct depth of our fuel cell. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to give you back to Seth. Grab our little fuel thing here, or another little pigtail, because I like this. Go ahead and feed it through our little fitting. It's got 2 holes in it, so 1 for each wire. Yeah. Get that guy up in place. Plug him into our pigtail here, so that's nice. Remember, gray is power, okay? Gray is power. I'm gonna remember that. Just go ahead and put that right there. As a matter of fact, you know what I think I'm gonna do? Even though I was going to, let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's fine. All right, put that guy in place. Tighten this guy up. So I don't think you need to go super cowboy on it. Just make sure it's snug. Yep. Give our wires a nice little tug. Feels good. So now here is our fuel pump hanger. Got our Walbro 450 on there, or our eBay 450 is what I'm going to call it. Got our eBay 450. Got a new hose clamp on there. Nice short hose. Our bracket was cut, twisted, so now everything lines up. Go ahead and get this guy. Now I did it with these going forward. Go ahead and line this guy up with our hanger. Now this little hanger kit came with all of these guys here. So even though it has that little cork gasket, came with all these little nylon washers to go around our studs. Kind of help seal a little bit more. So go ahead and make sure we get all these guys on there. Got our washers on. Each one of these little guys here is like air cap nuts, or nylocks. That's what I like to call them. They got the little nylon insert there, which helps lock them in place. Fuel pump hanger is installed. All our nuts are tight. Everything is good to go. Now what I want to do is, see, I got one of these little guys crimped onto this line already, or this wire already, and all I did was put our little seal on this one. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy installed and crimped. Get this end of our weather pack connector installed on our wiring. That way this whole fuel cell, I can remove it. Everything's serviceable. Everything can be unplugged. I don't have to cut any wires. So everywhere I can try to make my life a little easier, that's what I'm going to do. I got one of these lines crimped already. Go ahead and pass you off to Seth, show you how I crimped it or what I'm using. We'll get that one crimped, get this end installed, and then I'll go ahead and get ends of our fuel line fed through one of the holes on our frame rails. We'll get this thing back there. That way we can get the fuel lines hooked up, get this thing installed in the truck for one of its final times. I'm not sure how many more times it's coming out, but I'm hoping it's not very many more. So, like I said, I'm going to hand you off to Seth, get you in here. That way you can kind of see what it is I'm doing and what I'm using. So, here we go. All right. So I got, I don't know, that's about 1/4 inch of the wire showing, right? Go ahead and put this little guy real close to the wire. This is the connector we will be using. So what I like to do is you want to get your wire, like I said, 1/4 inch, because these little prongs right here is what's going to grab. You see the short ones there?
Yeah.
That's what's going to grab the wire. This big guy is what's going to hold our rubber seal in place. And what I like to do is just get it close. You know, help get this thing started. There we go. Just get it started. You know, give it a head start. Help her out, I'm saying. So now on the very end of there, you can see we're going to use the big one. Slide this guy through. Make sure it lines up where it's supposed to. Make sure our little ends are coming through like, here we go. See that? We don't want to be crushing this guy here, so once it's squeezed, it should, there we go, the wire. So if you want to get in here, you can see our wire is good and crimped. See that?
It's focusing.
Yeah, nice little tug. Make sure everything's good to go. Once we got that, go ahead and grab our weather pack connector. Shove this guy into place. You're going to push it in. You should hear a snap of some sort. There we go. Boom. Push this guy into place as well. And then lock it in. So there is our weather pack connector. The other end, of course, is the same. You just put the opposite ends of this guy in here, slide it in place, close it up, and then our fuel cell will be able to be unplugged, serviced, all that neat stuff. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get our wires hooked up to this so I can run them through the frame. Get our hoses ran through the hole in the frame as well. Get this guy back up in place. I'll be right back and show you guys the progress we have made, and then where we're going to install our fuel filter and get everything ran to that throttle body. So, like I said, go ahead and get these wires on, and I'll be right back. All right, fuel cell is installed. Hoses are ran up the frame rails. We got the power wire from the computer coming back. Fuel filters in place, fuel pressure sensors in place. Everything's mocked up for the most part. I just got one more hose to make for the return up there under the hood. But before I do that, I want to get up underneath this truck and show you guys how it's ran. It's some of it's kind of temporary right now because there's still some other things I need to do or want to do underneath this truck, like finishing out the wire loom, the sending unit wire, little things like that. But it is extremely late and I want to get this thing fired up so I can get it on the ground, moved around, so I can kind of get things closed up for right now. So, but let's get underneath the truck here. I'm going to show you guys what I got. All right, so as you can see, there is our fuel cell. Now our bracket, I went ahead and just put a coat of bed liner on it, rubberized bed liner. Figured it would help kind of absorb some vibrations and give that fuel cell something a little soft to sit on. Now, I don't know if we can get up there and see. Oh no, she is. But there is a notch. You kind of make it out on the camera there, where I've used the hole saw to make a little tunnel for our fuel lines to come out and over that cross member. And then now, as you can see here, kind of like that, use a hole saw as well, opened it up and cut a piece of hose to make kind of a grommet to keep from cutting our fuel lines. But it runs through that cross member. And you can see kind of down the frame. I still have to go through and put hangers in, but like I said, there's still a couple other things I want to do. There is our fuel filter. There is our fuel pressure. There it is, our fuel pressure sending unit for the computer. And I did take this guy out. If you can see up here, we installed our O2 sensor as well. Now it's always important to at least get it up on top there. It keeps moisture and everything out of the O2 sensor. Or if you can't get it on top, at least try to get it at a 45, even if you have to put it in on the side, kind of tilt it if you can. That will help keep moisture out of that sensor and help it last longer. So, but just been chipping away at the old truck. Got Seth over here hanging out too. Now, let's see here. Where is my stool? Got it over there. So, let's take a look at what we got here. So there is our fuel line from the pump. Comes down underneath our engine crossmember, up and over into our throttle body. And we've already got that line going back to the tank. I just need to finish making this line right here, from this fitting to that fitting. And I've got, well, this fitting's on there already. I just kind of want to go through you guys with this if you've ever used the PTFE line, I absolutely love this stuff. So, but go ahead and give you on over to Seth here. Yeah, watch your noggin. Woo! Getting close, getting close. If you were any taller, you'd hit the bumper. All right. So go ahead and hand you on over to Seth. Kind of talk through this little guy here. Get this fitting made up real quick. Get it installed on that throttle body. And then we'll go ahead and power the truck up. Kind of run through our little wizard. And see and hear this thing. Get that first fire. Fingers crossed. First fire on the fuel injection system. So here you go, Seth. Oh yeah, got your hands. All right. Now on regular AN lines, I know it's all they like to tape it, right? Use electrical tape, keep it tight. Use a cutoff wheel. That way it keeps everything nice and pretty. Makes it easier for you to put this little guy on here. But it's kind of backwards on the PTFE line. I do like to use tape, cut it, keeps our nylon in place. After we get this fitting on, go ahead and take the tape off. Yeah. No, I've got a mess. I've got things scattered everywhere right now. I've been running back and forth. All right, so now that we got that tape off, if you look down in here, get your little pick, and you're gonna wanna kind of open up the line here. Take your coating, your braided stainless, get the pick in there, and now you gotta try to open all of this up. I know, it's kind of backwards from the other stuff. You want to try to keep it nice and tidy, but once you get your fitting on there, this you want to open up a little bit. Show you, kind of get it to flower, bloom, like it's springtime. Can be kind of a pain, especially when the stainless likes to prick your fingers or poke you. But now, you can see now everything's starting to open up. I like to take this little guy here too. Put it in here first just to make sure everything fits nice, like it's not kinked in there or anything like that, because if you can kind of, I don't know, mess this up when you're picking at it. If you got your little pick here and you're trying to open that up, you can mess up this inner part. I've done it twice already, where it just kind of kinked on me and then wouldn't allow the fitting to sit inside. So just go ahead and open everything up. This guy does not want to cooperate. Okay. Make sure that still fits. Everything feels good. Go ahead and grab this guy here. It goes over our inner line, in between the outside of our stainless, our little nylon coating here, and the inside line, which is why it's important to open up that. Put these down here. Give her a little gentle push. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little tiny ledge up inside there. You want that plastic line to sit right up against. So this one here looks like it's pretty darn close. Just go ahead and give her a little, one more wiggle. There we go. Make sure everything's out. All right. Just put this guy up in there. Feel it. Make sure that bottoms out just like that. Bring your fitting back up here. Just kind of rotate it over. And now tighten this thing up. Got a couple of these wrenches. I've got another one scattered somewhere. I don't tighten this guy up. Let's see if I can find my other wrench. There it is. All right, make sure this guy's all snug. Okay, now our line's all made up. Now you don't have to use this stuff for fuel line. You can use it for transmission lines as well. At least I have. That's what's on this truck. That's what's on this truck as well. It's the transmission lines. If I remember correctly, I did on one of my videos. There it is. I was interested to see how durable it was, so I took a lighter and held this line over the flame of the lighter for a little while to see if it would melt. And the plastic didn't melt. It's actually quite durable. So, but all right, get this guy rigged up here. This guy's coming across right here. If we get everything nice and snug. That guy there. Now one more thing we need to do is grab ourselves some vacuum line here. We're gonna plug this guy in right here. Let's see here if we can. Fuel lines hooked up, vacuum lines are hooked up, turn lines hooked up. Everything I believe has power. Now, time to get inside, turn the key on, see if we can go through the old setup wizard, pressure our fuel system up, see if we got any leaks. Fingers crossed we don't. That guy can go right there. All right, go on over here. No. Okay, so, whew. Cool thing is this system has been on this engine once before when it was inside that truck up there. So here's our little setup wizard, our little screen. I don't know if I have shown all of this stuff, but I believe I did. Anyways. Why here, fuel pump? Let's see what we got for live data. Now I'm going to try, we'll turn the key off. I'm going to leave it the way it is because if I remember correctly, you know what, let's just go back. Let's go to Setup Wizard. Confirm. Okay, so number of cylinders, 8 cylinders. We're going to go 460, I believe, because this engine is bored. 30 over. Idle RPM. Let's go 850. Rev limit, yeah, we'll leave that at 6,500. Right now we're going to go on gasoline, but because I did use PTFE line and our pump is E85 capable, I do plan on switching this over to E85 here in the near future. So, but we are going to leave it on gasoline right now because that's what's in the tank. We do have a return style system. We are not controlling timing. Single throttle body. Okay, so release throttle, then press calibrate button. Okay, boom. Now press the throttle, make sure it's full throttle. So we'll go over here. All right, calibrate. Boom. So that is all working. Verify, yep. Please verify all connectors are properly made and fully tightened. As far as I know, I have spent okay. So adjust fuel pressure, start. We are at 50 PSI. So let's get up here. That's actually pretty darn good. This thing needs to be set at 43. All right, so let me grab my Allen wrench. Set somewhere around here. There we go. And with that pump going, oop, I got one little leak right here. Let me fix that real quick. Hold on one sec. All right, I believe the leak was fixed. We had one on this fitting right here, and we had one, we can get up in there, point my finger, we had one on this fitting right here. So got those off, cleaned up, replaced the one fitting in the front of our fuel pressure sensor. Now, Seth, go ahead and hit start.
All right.
I hear the fuel pump running. Everything else seems to be okay. I didn't see anything in the back. So now we're going to go back to grabbing my Allen wrenches. Okay. Now, you remember what I did with my Allen wrenches? Sure don't, Oh, he's got them. He's hiding them from me. They're in his pocket. All right. Get up here to this guy. You have a gauge on that handheld back over there too, don't you?
Yeah.
Let's say in 50.
The target's 43.
Right, but it says 50.
When it runs, yeah.
Yep, that's what we're getting at. Okay, so go ahead and get these guys. All right, go ahead, hit start for me.
All right.
What's the gauge say?
47.
All right, go ahead, hit start for me again.
44. 43.
All right, so go ahead and hand you off to Seth here real quick. There you go, buddy.
Thanks.
I'm gonna go ahead and show them the screen. Hit start on that screen. That way you can see the fuel pressure is set to 43. Still 43?
Yep.
43, 44, close enough. Okay. So we have that guy set up. get these guys off here because it's gonna rattle a little bit probably. Go ahead and leave this out because I believe, if I remember correctly, we might have to find our setup for the idle. So I'll leave this wrench right there. Go ahead and pull this air filter housing off. Set it right here next to all this other clutter of tools we got scattered everywhere. All right, go on back over here. So 43 is good. On to the next one. So there it goes. Please start engine and allow coolant temperature to reach at least 170. Coolant temp is at 65. So this is the first fire with our fuel injection system. It tells us we got to warm it up. Fingers crossed. Go ahead and just let it run for a little bit, let it warm up. Got a little ways to go for it. It's kind of a cool night right now, so it might take a little bit. But we're at 70 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and just let it run, let it idle. What it's doing right now. We'll let it get warmed up. As soon as it does, I'll bring it right back. All right, we're at 184, 87 degrees now. Okay, click on over to our next screen. All right, so set. Now I gotta find our target. See, just go out with our little Allen wrench and adjust till that guy reaches our target. Here, go ahead and grab that. Release throttle. Boom. Okay. Wizard is now complete. So there is our live data. We're at 195 coolant, air temp, There's our air-fuel ratio. Fuel pressure's at 38 psi. Might want to bump that up just a hair. Now that we're here, got it? Yeah. You're gonna have to hold that. Is now alive and running on fuel injection. Wow. Pretty responsive setup. This, like I said, this was the very first electronic fuel injection I had ever bought, and it was for that Mustang right there, and it's always worked really well. So, judging by our handheld, still at 195. We're idling at about 850, which is our target. Thing's working pretty darn good, so I think go ahead and shut her down, get my stuff cleaned up, and we'll be back. And we'll take this thing out on the street and just see how it feels. Truck's on the ground. Got our little sidekick Seth with us. Everything seems to be running pretty good. Let the truck warm up a bit. We're at 179 degrees right now. AFR is at 13.3, 13.5. Fuel pressure's at 43, 42. Everything seems to be looking pretty good so far. Now I just want to get this out on the street. Do a quick little test drive. For one, the seat's not bolted down. So I don't want to go too far. But I am excited. I do want to feel how this fuel injection works. So far everything feels like definitely responsive. So hand you off to Seth. We'll do a quick little drive around, shift through the gears just to see how this thing feels. So here we go. Yep. guess we didn't test that yet. So that's nice. We get to feel how this rear end's doing too. Water temp. Oh yeah, 176. We're good. are back in the shop, and I gotta tell you, this thing did extremely well, right? I am very, very happy. I'm glad that I decided to upgrade and make the switch over to this throttle body injection setup. Good throttle response. It felt nice all the way around. So, plus it should help me now that we got it's a self-learning system. Should adjust itself to different elevations wherever it is I decide to take this truck. Should help out too with cold starts, cruising, because it's self-learning. It's got the air-fuel ratio and all that stuff. Should help me optimize fuel mileage in this thing as well. Maybe get a little bit more than the 10 miles a gallon we know these big blocks get, right? Doesn't matter if they're, empty, if they're pulling something empty or they're pulling something loaded. They all just seem to get about 8 to 10 miles to the gallon. So I'm hoping I get a little bit better than that. But getting that on here was a big stepping stone for me for this video. I wanted to get it on. I wanted to get it fired up. I did off camera though manage to get that old fuel tank out from behind the seat. So to give myself a little bit more room for the seat that we have in it. And yes, it is a seat out of a 2001 Escalade. It is the second row seat, and I'm pretty sure I can make that fit. I want to make it fit. I want to be a little, drive around in comfort. But we got to get that seat mounted. Got to get some little probably standoffs made for the seat. I want to get a couple of the holes patched in the floor as well, and start getting some sound deadener and some carpet in there. See if we can't get the cab of this thing quieted up a little bit. But that is on a different video. I am going to end this one off right here, right? Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Ask questions. Truthfully, like I said, or I've mentioned before in this video, this is my very first self-learning fuel injection kit that I bought, and I bought it for my 67 Mustang. It has since been switched. I had it, this engine and this whole setup was actually in this truck. And then I took everything out. This has got the turbo 5.3 in it now. This engine, when we started building this truck, was sitting underneath that bench. The fuel kit, or the fuel injection system, was sitting in a box on top of my parts washer. It's been there for a very, very long time. So I'm very happy that I was able to dig it out, get it thrown back up on here, and that it performs the way that it does. So, but I am extremely happy. This is probably one of the better ones for self-learning that I have found. They are a tad bit spendy, I believe. I mean, when I bought it, I bought the full kit. I think it was in the between $28 and $3,000, because it came with the fuel pump and some fuel line. But for the most part, it's been on the two vehicles it was on, or I did drive it prior to this. Putting it back on here is it did very well. I never really had any issues starting it. The only things that I've found that you have to follow the instructions of this one exactly, right? Even in the book, I believe I read somewhere, it says, do not be afraid to cut and extend or cut and shorten. But when it tells you, when it's just follow the instructions. So, anyways, guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Hit that subscribe button. Give a guy a thumbs up. Awesome. Appreciate all you guys' support. Thank you again for watching. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.